So we're dealing with the same case where we discovered the succubus, and the young woman has come back to me and said, and I quote, "I've just been told we're not letting you go. I don't know what to really make of that," she says, but they were very clear, strong message. They said they will go when they are, not when they are told. And I did say back to them, you were asked, not told as such. I asked if there are names, and she said, he's known as Alex, or Al. And I've said, is he earthbound? She says, I'm not sure. If he is, he doesn't come across as entirely human. I said, did you invite him? And then she says, I have recordings of his voice, so he's come through on the ghost box.
Okay.
She says, I have recordings of his voice, but no, I didn't invite him. And I said, but if you set up an experiment to capture voices, that may be construed as an invitation.
Mm-hmm. That would be my assumption.
Yeah, can you share the voice recordings? And she said she will when she gets them together. And then she goes on to say, the very first proper spirit app session, he came through instantly, like he'd already been around. I will try to find the very first recording. After that, no matter what instrument I used, he would come through. He even started talking when I listened to other sessions. Give me roughly 2 days and I'll see what I can retrieve as evidence. He always just said, "Haw," then he stopped that and just hissed now and again. And I said, can you tell me which apps you're using to capture the voices? And she gave me a list. And it appears to me that people are using these in total blind ignorance, and many people are going to be suffering the consequences similar to what this young woman is experiencing. And this is why she's sharing this with us, because she wants people to be warned. I stopped using all spirit box comms when this happened. Most apps came with a built-in recorder, but when they didn't, I used to either record on a separate recorder or film and then slow it down to listen back. And then I mentioned to her what the succubus said about be careful what you wish for, and about children playing in the pond for the crocodile. He has key phrases. He's talking about our voices now. He repeats often. I will try to remember some of the dialogue and write a list. It's quite a fascinating topic, an area of research from an objective perspective. I've tried to keep a record because of that. My intuition is these kinds of cases will become more common. So she's happy to share her experiences in order to help educate people. So what we need to do now is investigate these voices that are still with her.
So just to rewind slightly then, Terry, so do we know when she says she's hearing these voices, I'm still unclear whether she's hearing them in her head or whether she's still using the spirit box and still talking to the same...
Well, she said she stopped using the spirit box.
So she's hearing the voices in her mind now, effectively.
That's the impression I get.
Because I would say what you said earlier, actually, is that if you, with your intent to actually use one of these spirit boxes or spirit apps on the phone, you're already giving permission for things to talk to you.
Yeah.
So when you turn it on, if you don't then basically specify that you only wish to talk to, energies for the highest good and your highest good and that kind of thing, if you're just scanning the airwaves, you're going to get anything, and more than likely it'll be negative. So maybe there's just we need to sort of clarify exactly, if you're going to use one of these things, the way to use it is to make sure that you're very specific about what you want to talk to you.
Well, that's already been done for us. But this morning I've been in conversation with an experienced EVP researcher. Another term for this is EVP, electronic voice phenomena.
Okay.
You may like to look that up. two researchers that I met at a conference in New York a couple of years ago are experienced researchers in this, and I've been in conversation with one of them this morning who says that there are safeguards that need to be put into place. You need to know what you're doing, it needs to be under controlled conditions, and she goes on to explain that the recognised parapsychology researchers that do this tend not to recognise or promote the idea that there's the possibility of negative spirit attachments. They tend to avoid that, which again is a big mistake, because people do need to be educated, and it's no good the professionals keeping this information to themselves. So
yeah, exactly, yeah.
So, I mean, this is a danger area. It's the same as using the Ouija board. It's no
I was going to
different.
say, to me, it's the same as using a Ouija board, really,
yeah,
is that
yeah.
you're just asking for things to talk to you, which they will. But
And in fact, any device or any means of opening yourself up to spirit is potentially very, very dangerous. So the first question I'd like to ask Chen and our guides is there a reason why we didn't pick up these other voices at the time we discovered the sexual, the succubus? Is there a reason we didn't pick this up?
okay, so I'm just asking Chen the question. So Chen's saying that the succubus has been removed and the client is sovereign from a negative perspective as far as he's concerned. He's saying these voices, or this voice, is earthbound discarnate spirit, basically. And so I was just asking him why they weren't picked up when we did the initial removal, and he's saying that the initial removal was to sort out the sexual aspect of the succubus problem. He said, which, in his opinion, has been addressed and sorted.
Okay. Didn't investigate far enough on the first inquiry.
Yeah, so I think that this should be easy enough to remove.